Welcome back to the Fan Speak Network and our continuing series of rookies that we are targeting in best ball. That's right. The NFL draft is behind us. Best ball season is officially here. And there are rookies that we are targeting actively in these best ball drafts as best ball season starts. And likely, if their price stays fairly reasonable, they're probably going to be guys that we're going to target and be overweight on throughout best ball season. So be sure to check out all these rookie targets on the best ball part of the FanSpeak network. Check that out. They are, being uploaded daily, and we have more to come. We're going to be doing 10 total. Our fifth one is receiver Tre Harris of Ole Miss. He went in the second round to the Los Angeles Chargers. Steve, I know you were high on Harris in the pre-draft process in your pre-draft rookie rankings. But then he got a really good landing spot with a top quarterback, a top offense. Yes, the Chargers are run heavy, but he is, let's be honest, Quentin Johnston, he's got the dropsies. Mike Williams is old and, constantly banged up. He should be the running mate to Ladd McConkey in that Chargers passing game. So tell me why you like Tre Harris as a prospect, and then, of course, elaborate more on the landing spot with the Chargers.
Yeah, so, Tre Harris, Ole Miss offense has kind of dominated these last 2 years. He was banged up this past year, so he missed some games down the stretch. Those numbers are actually even more impressive when you look at it from a whole picture, because he had over 1,000 yards in only like 8 games or maybe. And one of those games, I know he left super early, I remember. And what he is he is a bigger outside X receiver, can get vertical. While Ole Miss does not run the whole route tree, and that whole debate about Jackson Dart and all that, applies to him as well. But they also produce some good receivers. DK Metcalf and AJ Brown being the pinnacle of that. But look, there's other NFL caliber receivers that they produced in recent years, and I think Harris is a very high upside. He was actually Malik Neighbors' high school quarterback, so that also shows his ability, and also why he got a bit of a later start at receiver. But no, I think he's a very good route runner. Some of the best hands. Definitely could have been a thing the Chargers were looking for, given QJ's struggles. And we saw last year, both QJ and Palmer, they were getting open in this offense. They just couldn't catch, or the ball didn't always connect. I think Harris offers just a higher upside to either one of those guys. And yes, give us a true second option to Ladd McConkey. McConkey is going to dominate targets for sure, but Harris can get the big chunk plays. He's 6'2", 215, 220, can be a good red zone threat. I think this just helps propel this offense in total. We saw last year, obviously they vastly improved the running back room as well. But we saw last year that this was a one-man offense with McConkey. And there were a number of games, and even in the playoff game, where once you kind of took that away, or just kind of let him get his underneath, the offense didn't have other answers. Now they have another answer. And I also think Harris is going to be your classic, improve as the season goes on. We talk about it the after the bye week, but it's more as the season wears on. We even saw that with McConkey's first couple games weren't strong. But Harris, I think he's a guy you want on your team down the stretch, because the Chargers, particularly if they have a good schedule down the stretch, we know Herbert has the capability to win shootout games.
Right.
We just didn't see a lot of it last year because of the way they were structured. I think now they actually have that second weapon to allow that to occur. And also the other thing with the Chargers is their defense took a step back, losing some other guys. A lot of games, particularly when Dobbins was healthy, they were able to get an early lead and just run out the clock. Now that might not be the case anymore. So I think that's another benefit for Harris, benefit for this passing game. And just, I think this, like you said, this is one of the better landing spots, and he got still good, mid-second round draft capital. And the Chargers, you look at some of the reports and beat writers seem to be pretty high on this situation.
Yeah, and I think you make a really good point about the defense taking a step back. I mean, we saw the extreme case of like the Bengals last year. It's like you find that sweet spot of a very talented offense combined with a defense that's going to give up points. And holy cow, we know the Chargers like to run the ball. We know they have a two-headed monster that can run the ball effectively, but will they be able to via game script? And
Mm.
that, that will not and sure they could get work in the passing game too. But like you said, having that second like running mate to Lad McConkey, I think is just massive for Tre Harris, the passing offense as well. So I think that's an excellent point that, isn't talked about a lot. I think sometimes we get locked into certain takes on teams like, oh, Roman and Harbaugh just love to run the ball. Well, they do, but like, are they going to be able to is the question. I mean, look at the Bengals last year. So
Yeah.
I think that's an interesting point that we don't talk about enough. And especially now that the draft is past us, it's like, there's not much else they can do that's going to like vastly improve their defense at this point of the year. And they obviously did highly invest in their offense during the NFL draft. I mean, obviously, Amari Hampton in round 1, Tre Harris in round 2. So yeah, really, really good points. Yeah. So before we look at the prices, any other thoughts on Tre Harris compared to other rookie prospects?
So obviously, the situation for Harris is better than some of these receivers who are in more crowded rooms like Mbuka. Mbuka is still going higher, but Harris actually has, to me, the highest upside because he doesn't necessarily need an injury in front of him. He just needs to beat out Quentin Johnston and Mike Williams, and I think that's very doable.
Right.
Same with even Matthew Golden. While I think Matthew Golden could be the Packers' one, we've just never seen the Packers under LaFleur outside of Davante Adams like just allow a receiver dominate targets and touches and playing opportunities. So I'm not saying that Matthew Golden's price is wrong, but I don't think Golden necessarily has the upside that Harris does, because keep in mind, we're talking about a Chargers offense that finished very good last year, but absolutely has a potential with a strong offensive line, a good big arm quarterback, 2 talented running backs. This could be a top 10, top 5 offense. There's that kind of upside here. So if it hits those levels, sure, McConkey is that second rounder, and that's a great value, but the number 2 receiver is probably going to hit as well. And if that's Tre Harris, like we believe, he's a steal at where he's going in the drafts right now.
Yeah, currently ADP 123, but he is on the rise, and in a lot of drafts, I don't think this fully reflects it yet. Obviously, BBM, this is the from the best ball contest that just opened on Monday. His ADP, I've seen him go, anywhere from early 100s to like 115, 120. So, I mean, I feel like that if you're getting him in that range, like, I don't know, 105 to 115, 120, I love that. I don't think you have to be like, oh, he has to go after 123 to pay value, because look at who he goes around. You talked about rookies. We love Jaden Higgins landing spot, but that's a pretty crowded receiver room. That's not to say we don't love Jaden Higgins. We do. I think you both and I both definitely got exposure big board season. Definitely still want to get exposure to Jaden Higgins, but then there, as far as other rookies, like you said, it's guys that we like, but in crowded rooms, like Luther Burden, Chicago, Mbuka, Tampa Bay, going well above him, Golden going even above them in ADPs like 80, 92, 94. These things are going to settle out. But I guess what we're saying is where would you say you're comfortable taking Tre Harris if his price continues to rise? Because again, it is definitely higher than this 123 in the drafts that I'm seeing most often.
So right now, definitely all the way up to 100.
Okay.
And like you said, that sweet spot 105 to 115 for sure. If we keep getting good reports, and if it's becoming clear he's the number 2 on this team, then I think he goes higher because, especially, and I get Mbuka was a first rounder and he's a very talented guy, but when Tampa's healthy, he's no better than number 3.
Right.
Harris could be the number 2 on this team, and very clearly, and also play a different role than McConkey. He could be the bigger red zone threat, where Mbuka's not going to have that, and even some of these other guys. So, but it's not just the rookies; it's a lot of the other, receivers in this range, above and below, are just in very murky situations. There's multiple Colts receivers like Pittman and Downs. Bateman is fine, particularly, in a stack, but it's not somebody we're just rushing to get all the time. Rashid Shaheed, with potentially a rookie quarterback, Mims in a crowded room. Not that these are bad plays, but
Right.
they are more like spike week guys. Harris has the ability, and I think Jaden Higgins to an extent as well, if he can fend off his Iowa State teammate, who's now his Texans teammate, to be the true number 2 on a good passing offense. And so I'm good with that. And I do think the volume will be higher for the Chargers. The other thing to keep in mind with the Chargers, early on in the year, Justin Herbert was banged up. Josh Palmer was banged up. Lab McConkey was even banged up. He missed one game later, but he was banged up those first 4 or 5 weeks. So that's why, again, the whole post-bye rookie bump, it's not just after the bye, but it's after getting healthy, after getting some time understanding things. And, I think Harris could become the clear number 2. Now, if we start hearing those reports, when we get into August and we're seeing him out there as the clear number 2, then he should probably be in the 80s. I mean, if that's the case, we're getting in August and it is, all the Chargers beat writers are saying he's the number 2, I'm taking him above Mbuka.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And that's the whole point of bringing up the current prices and then projecting where these prices could move to. Basically we like him after pick 100 now, see the value there. And, as we get more information, we'll probably be comfortable going up the board with him a little bit more, which is why this whole series are guys that we like now, but likely if the coach speak is good, the reports are good, we're probably going to like as their price continues to rise too, because this is a very fluid ADP environment. So I think this has been very helpful for me. Again, Tre Harris is our 5th rookie we've covered. We're going to do a total of 10, and then we're going to cover all the rookies position by position next week. So we got a lot of great content. Make sure you're subscribed to the FanSpeak Network. A best ball friend, tell them, make sure they are as well. Hit the like button on the way out, and be sure to check out all these rookies that we are targeting in best ball. These short little videos that hopefully will help you know who you want to target in your best ball drafts. We appreciate you being here. For Steve, I'm Meg. We will see you next time.